Hi my loves, hi my loves, hi my loves. I hope you all are good. I hope you all are good. Hi everyone. To my followers, my non-followers, hi everyone. Right, and then now to every single person, to those who are new here and you don't follow me, please know a few house rules. My videos are long and this one is going to be long. It's all of them. It's going to be long as all of them. And I don't get to the point. I don't know what the point is, and I will keep making these intros because even if I say these intros, people still comment, get to the point. People still do that, and I won't do that. Not because I'm not trying to please people, or I'm not accepting constructive criticism. It is because in the beginning everyone said share more information. I started sharing more information. Then when I share more information, others are saying get to the point. You are all over the place. How? What must I do now? I can't please everyone, right? So that's it. Number two, when you address me, please address me as Maputi. Right? Don't gogo me, don't mukulu me, don't talk over me. Not everyone who's spiritual on TikTok is supposed to be gogo do mukulut. Some of us, our ancestors don't like that. And we don't tokoza. Not every single person you meet you say tokoza namaste. It doesn't work like that, right? And just because I have a spiritual gift, it doesn't mean you have to do what your ancestors said we should do when we meet you. No. If I go into a person's place and they tokoza, I tokoza them. But when they come to my place and my people don't want to tokoza, they don't tokoza me. Okay. Alrighty, and then for those who are interested in booking a consultation with me, you can inbox me for the prices. Now I repeat, inbox me if you are seeking a consultation. Don't inbox me because when you and your boyfriend are fighting. Don't inbox me telling me your sob stories about your life. If you need my help or attention, tips, guidance from me, book a consultation. How? Or watch my videos. That's all you can do. I will only answer valid questions. And thank you to those in the inbox who are respectful, who come in and greet me. And thank you. And then in the comment sections, let's be respectful as well. You can inbox me for the prices because I don't have one price for consultation. I've got multiple prices for different packages. Or you can go on my bio on TikTok. There's a bio. There's a link to my email. You click it on YouTube. On my bio, there's my email there. And then for those on TikTok, there's also a link to my website. You can go on my website and see it. And for those of you who've been inquiring or thinking about mentorship with me, please know that I do not decide to take mentees unless your ancestors are the ones that ask for it, and you would need to book a consultation before we can even decide to go into a mentee. Because why will I mentor you when I know nothing about you? I will need to check you firstly to see what's up with you before we can even get into a mentorship program. All right. Alrighty, and then all right, let's get into it. The lesson, this is second series, part 2 from the series of our Divine Mother. Right. There'll be a title here, so you all know this video is going to be long and I'm going to be all over the place. That's okay. I'm all over the place. Someone needs this information. Number one, I'm putting out this video because I need a video where my mentees can come and look at it. They are on a different curriculum apart from what I'm doing here. They have a different curriculum right now that they're focusing on, but still I will need them to come look at this video. Number two, someone needs this whole information, right? Some of you know, self-initiates, some of you know that your ancestors told you to get a pen and paper at school. Your school is in session for you and you're supposed to come here and learn. So all this information, some of you need them at different interval. Some of you won't understand a jack that I'm saying, or this message won't relate to you. It's okay. Don't make it force you. Don't make it force if it doesn't. And to those who feel that they know better or they have more information than me, or they felt that I could have taught it better, or they felt that this lesson is missing a lot of information, you are more than welcome to write it in the comment. Others will learn from you. I don't know everything. It's not like I know everything. I'm just going to deliver it the way I was instructed to deliver it. Okay. The title, Earth Mother, Dragon Mother. Earth Mother, Dragon Mother, right? I've already given 2 lessons on dragons. The covers of those lessons have dragons on them. The first one has a dragon, and the second one has a dragon like phoenix. I've already given those 2 lessons, so you can go and look at those lessons. But chances of, let's put it like this, so chances of they won't connect that much, but you can go watch them, because I'm taking a different take on it. I'm taking a different turn on this one, right? I'm going to talk about things that have been taught to me for many years when I was starting my journey into understanding who the Divine Mother is. And then I'm going to share some of, not every single thing I know I'm going to share here, right? I'm only sharing things that I've been given permission to share. Now, as humans, we have forgotten important information about the dragons, the same way that we have forgotten important information about the fairies, about the elves, and about the unicorns. Right now, our current source of information with regards to dragons, it is Disney, what we see on Disney movie. And even that, and the reality is that even Disney, that source about dragons is very limited. Their source is very limited. And due to that, many people have been confused for many years about dragons, because the dragons don't appear as anything like anything you are seeing online. They appear different when they come to you. So that, or things you are seeing on TV, they appear differently. Right. Now I want to put it out there. Dragons are real. They exist. So I know someone is like, but are they real? Yes, they're real. They exist. And someone is then going to ask, have you seen them? Yes, I've seen them. Right? So I'm just going to put it out there. Yes, I've seen them. Now, please don't ask me the details of how they look or whatever. If you work with dragons, you will know that yourself. That information will be given to you directly. Also, please don't come in the comment and comment about how you saw your dragon and how it was looking. That's sacred information given to you for your own, for you alone. Right? So unless you work with dragons, then you will not see them. There'll be no need for you to see them, right? You can learn about them, but there'll be no need for you to see them. Now, even history does not have that much knowledge about dragons for many people to do proper research. So the information that I'm giving is spiritual information that I've seen, I've been given, I've been guided towards, right? And even those who work with dragons, some of your researchers, you will need to actually ask your ancestors. Majority of the information will be given to you by your spiritual team, by your spirit team. Right. Today, many religions, I don't know why my nose is itchy. Today, many religions have demonized dragons. They've told you that they're evil. And it's funny because I had a client who also went through an issue, went to their pastor, and their pastor said, no, it's an evil entity, run away from it. They've demonized dragons and gave you fake gods for you to worship. Now, they did this because they understand the powers of dragons. And they know that working with a dragon is a very powerful thing. Right? But when you have true knowledge about dragons, and not the knowledge from the internet and not the knowledge from Disney, but when you have true knowledge of dragons and you've seen them regularly in your dreams and visions, or physically, then you will understand the true powers of dragons. Some of you just had one dream about a dragon and think you already work with dragons. No, you're still just getting introduced to them. Some of you are just flying with them. You still don't work with them. You are still getting introduced to them. Right? When you do start working with them, you will get a true knowledge of who they are, what they are doing, and their purpose is, and their power. And once you do know that, you will then start to know your own power. It is important. Now, again, let's take a trip back to Asia. Because right now, in many cultures, indigenous cultures, Asia is the one that still honors the dragons, right? It is important for us to take a trip back there again, because today we are grateful for the preservations of the literatures and stories about dragons, because we can look back to them and be able to be guided and get a bit of a glimpse and knowledge about the dragons, right? Get a little bit of insight about the dragons. In China, Asia, India, dragons are a symbol of power and good luck. Not only that, they are depicted some as dragons as you see them, some are depicted as serpents. It is important you get this, right? Not all dragons are going to depict it as how you see them in Disney. Some are serpents. Now, this is also important because some of you see serpents, not dragons. You see serpents flying in your dreams. You see snakes flying in your dreams, right? So there's important, and sometimes you were told that the big snake you saw in the water is your grandmother or your grandfather. It is important you understand that sometimes dragons are depicted, or they take the form of a serpent, of a snake. Sometimes they're depicted as snakes with wings. Sometimes they're depicted as dragons, meaning that the lizard with wings. Sometimes it's a bird with wings, that's the phoenix. Right? So they are a symbol of power and good luck. Now, just based on that symbolism, based on those two words, power and luck, that gives you a bit of an understanding of the nature of dragons. That shows you that dragons are powerful, and not only that, they are associated with wealth and prosperity as well. Even in Disney movies, dragons are always found where there's gold, diamonds, and silver. People always say even in their caves you always find diamonds, you always find wealth and slaying, and they're always surrounded with gold and wealth. And the tales are always surrounded around a person who slays the dragons, gets power, wealth, rulership, or immortality. Now that we are back in Asia, I want to take us on another journey. I hardly go on this side of the world. We hardly take a journey to this side of the world. So today I want to take us to Mesopotamia. Right? Some call it the cradle of human beings. Some call it the start of civilization, whatever. And the reason why people say that, it is because Mesopotamia still has some of the most ancient knowledges, right? Like Egypt, they still have a lot of information that we can relate back to. So I want to go back to Mesopotamia because I feel like the story about the dragon is depicted better there than in Egypt. Right, now, in the Mesopotamian religion, right? Mesopotamia is now modern day Iran. That was also Babylon. After Mesopotamia, we then had Babylon. I think Canaan as well, then we had Babylon, right? And then from then it moved into modern day Iran, Iraq, one of the two. Now, in the Mesopotamian history, we learn of a woman by the name of Tiamat, right? Tiamat. I hope I'm saying it right. I should have Googled how they say it verbally. We learn of Tiamat, and we are told that she takes many forms. She's a goddess, and she takes many forms. And one of her forms that they talk about is that she can take the form of a dragon, right? And when she takes the form of a dragon, it makes her the dragon mother. So that's where in I don't know why I need to do this reference, because I didn't even watch Game of Thrones. But one of my mentees loves Game of Thrones, and she's been going through a series where she's just been fascinated by Dragon Mother, or Mother of Dragons or something. I don't know. I've never watched it. I was told never to watch it because my ancestors didn't want the series to dilute or to influence the information that I would be learning about dragons. Right? So that makes her the Dragon Mother. Now, this information is inscripted on one of the ceramic Chaldeans that were found, that was over 3000 BCE back. Now, I want to talk about her. I'm going to talk a little bit about her. It's important you know about her. Go do your own research about her. But this information is the one that I want to talk about her, because she's connected to the other figures that I'm going to talk about. In her legend, we are taught that she existed in a time when nothing was yet on earth. When nothing was yet on earth, that's when she existed. And we are then told that she is the original creator, the birth mother of the galaxy, of this galaxy. She's the birth mother of this galaxy, right? And that she is a woman and a dragon at the same time, right? She is then depicted as Mother Earth in many of her legends. She was honored as Mother Earth, the life giver, and we are told that she was and we are told that life comes from her dragon body, right? When she gives life, it is her dragon body that gives lives. And we are told that she birthed the earth and the waters. And this is why dragons can live both on land and in the water simultaneously. And this is why dragons are considered in many ancient religions and civilizations as deities. They are considered deities. And this is why I said in the Dragons and the Phoenix video that a phoenix needs to die 7 soul cycles. And when it perfects the 7th death, it then turns and takes a different form of a dragon. Right. So this is what then makes dragons deities, right? She is the goddess of dreams. We have dreams because of her, right? She's the one who facilitates the dreams that we get because she is Mother Earth. She is the queen of the mysteries of this galaxies, and she will give you the mysteries about this galaxy that we are in. They teach us also that she created the 4 female elements. Not the 4 elements, the 4 female elements. There are male elements and there are female elements. And she created the 4 female elements, which are the night, the darkness, the night, the depth. Everything that has depth is considered female. The water is a female element. And the eternity is a female element as well. She created those. Right, now those are the 4 females element. Now what does that say to you as a woman if those are the elements that are linked to you as a woman? Right, she is also said to be the life giver. She gives life and she also gives death. Right, and then as a dragon, she is responsible for life and death. Right, now we also learn many interesting things about her tales. We are told that she formed the earth from her menstrual blood. We are told that she formed the earth from her menstrual blood, and from her menstrual cycle we then started getting the moon cycles, which our calendars are fashioned after. Because in her temples they used to use what was called the menstrual calendar. They used to use what they used to call the menstrual calendar. And our calendar, the calendar that we use, was taken from there. I don't know what's on my eye, and it's disturbing me. But it was taken and adjusted, right? And that's what we are using today. In the east coast of the Red Sea, even today, the east coast of the Red Sea is still called today Tiamat, and they say, named after him. And they say that the Red Sea is named after her menstrual blood, because it would take the color of her menstrual blood. Right. The recording of time, let's look into time. The recording of time on earth follows the menstrual blood cycle. The menstrual cycles take 29 to 30 days depending on the different women. I did say yesterday in our video that each one of you have your own different flows. Some cycles take 30, some take 29. And even our calendar today is approximately 29 to 30. Those who wanted to disharmonize us, they started adding an extra day to bring us out of harmony. Right? And the Babylons that you are taught to hate in the Bible, the very same Babylonians you are taught to hate in the Bible, used to honor the menstrual cycle. You need to understand that they made you hate and associate anything that is connected to the menstrual blood, and that they made you view it as dirty and impure, because menstrual blood is dragon blood, and this dragon blood gives birth to creation. That's the power of your menstrual blood. There is no creation without blood and water. There's no creation without blood and water. Both of that come out of a woman. Come out of the woman. No one knows how they come out of a woman. The water comes out during pregnancy, but if life didn't evolve, if life was not created, then she gets the blood. But if life is created, then the water comes out, because the blood went to creating the human. Right. Now, I want to add a second character who's linked to Tiamat. I want to add a second character, and the second character I want to add is Medusa. Right? I want to talk about Medusa. Now, I'm not going to talk about Medusa the way they taught you, right? I will share a little bit of that, but no, I'm taking a different take of Medusa. I will do a proper lesson one day on Medusa when instructed. I want to add a second character to our story, which will connect everything. Right? And as I said about Tiamat and Medusa. Why am I doing this? Why am I adding Medusa to this? Because many years when I was studying and following this tale of Tiamat and the worship and her worship and starting to learn more about her, I came across some very interesting knowledges, started understanding things in a different way. Now, I want to go back to her legend, talk a little bit about her legend before I proceed to Medusa. Right? In her legend and the stories that was told about Patriarchy, there's the stories that are told before Patriarchy, and then there's the stories that are told after Patriarchy. And then when you study her stories, you start to see a change in how the delivery is given. Right? Now, in her story, in her legend, Tiamat had kids. She birthed her own children who were demigods. Right? I told you about this on the True Knowledge in True Knowledge when I was talking about Jehovah being a god who was the son of Isha. Isha. Right? That's one of the children of Isha from Babylon. Now, even what's her name? Tiamat had kids who were then many gods. Right? Who were many gods. She had daughters and sons, and one of the sons In many legends, this is very mythologies. In many mythologies, we read about this. And one of her sons, who was called Marduk, who was called Marduk. Marduk started, the legend as it started shifting, we start to hear a story about Marduk. And Marduk was one of Tiamat's son. And Marduk decided he wanted to take her power. He wanted to be the ruler. He wanted to be the god, the creator of all things. And in order for him to do that, he needed to kill Tiamat, who is the mother. Right? And this is done as you start to notice patriarchal systems starting to come in. Because they wanted to change the worship of the god mother and create a godfather who was the creator. Right? So they started to create legends where Marduk would try to kill Tiamat to gain her powers of creation. And the powers of creation are found where? In her dragon blood. Okay, fine. Right, in the previous video, before this, I gave you an intro about your blood and its powers as a woman. Right, you needed the foundation to understand this lesson fully. Let's get back to the story. Now, the story starts in a different lineage, and there's a different story. And then as patriarchy starts to get in, Tiamat starts to die. They introduce her death because they need to now create a different god for you guys to worship. And then they say that in the story, as it shifts, Marduk tries to kill her. In the first time, Marduk tries to kill her, and Tiamat swallows him and births him again. Right? So she swallows him and births him again. And then he realized, okay, no, my first strategy is not going to work. I need to find another strategy. As the stories continued, he then kills her by slaughtering her head, by cutting her head. And then something interesting happens. When he cuts her head, then her heads, then different heads starts to come out. Different dragon heads, different serpent's head, they start to come out. There were many of them. And all of a sudden, she had many heads. Right? And then eventually he then decided that the only way to kill her is to slaughter her into half and drain her blood. That's the only way to kill her. And then he did that, and eventually the stories as patriarchy were starting to fully take root. The stories of her being killed and slaughtered into half started now being widespread. And after he successfully did this, he was then declared a hero, and he was then given wealth and power, and then he was crowned as the god. And this is when the legends of the dragon slayer started to come in, and people started to now hunt dragons. They were hunting dragons because they believed that they would get wealth and power from their blood. Right? And remember, I told you that the dragon blood is the blood of creation. Now back to Medusa. Right? In Asian mythology, I told you a dragon is also a serpent. It's also viewed as a serpent. Tiamat, when she was slayed, when her head was slayed, her head had many heads started growing out of her, which were dragon heads, which were serpent's head. And the legends of Medusa tells us that Medusa was a woman with snakes coming out of her hair. They said, and that anyone who would look into the eyes of the snakes, they would be turned into a stone. Right? Also, they teach you that Medusa was a beautiful priestess, who worked in the temple of water, who was a priestess at the temple near water. Right? Before she was turned into an evil character. Right. Now, The story of Medusa is that Poseidon, who was the Greek god of the sea, lusted after Medusa, who was a priestess in the temple near the water. And Poseidon, after lusting after Medusa, wanting Medusa, Poseidon decided to go rape Medusa. And after Poseidon raped Medusa, then Medusa was then punished by the gods, the Greek gods, right? Listen to the similarity. Murdoch wanted the powers of Tiamat, and with that he went to go kill her. Poseidon lusted after Medusa, and with that he went to go rape her, meaning he took something from her, because rape is taking something, violating someone, right? And with that, Medusa was then punished by the Greek gods, and then she was punished, and then her beauty was taken away from her. And when her beauty was taken away from her, she was then given snakes on her head. And take note that it is interesting that Poseidon is not the one who was punished, even though he was the one in wrong. Instead, the person who was violated was the one punished and taken. Her powers and her glory, her beauty, and every single thing was taken away from her. Just like how Tiamat, her wealth, her creation, her powers were all taken away from her. Right? So Medusa was stripped of her beauty. Now, if you read it from the Greek mythology, you ask yourself, but why? Why was she punished? Mythologies are symbolism. You need to always understand, when you get into mythology, you need to understand their symbolic nature. Mythologies are symbolism, right? As we said, remember what I said? I said that when Marduk also killed Tiamat by slaying her dragon head, she was then turned into a dragon with many heads. Now comes in Poseidon. Poseidon also violates Medusa, and Medusa is turned into a woman with many snakes on her head. And then she needs to be killed by Perseus, who was also, Perseus needs to come in now and kill Medusa, and then he needs to take Medusa's head, like Marduk, as a spoil for war, as a reward. And when he did that, he was also able to take her powers, because I think that's how he won the war. That's how he won the war, by using her head. Now, both Perseus and Marduk had to kill in order to gain power. The dragon in order to gain power. In African mythology, which is different, which is the Greeks take their mythology from Africa. In African mythology, the story is different. It's told by the ancestors. I don't know if there's reference about this. I've tried, I couldn't find it. Even in African mythology, the little knowledge that is known about Medusa is confusing. It's told by the ancestors who have taught me this. In African mythology, which the Greeks the Greek mythology is taken after, Medusa was actually the god of the water and creation, just like Tiamat, who created the earth and the water. Medusa was the god of earth and water. She was mother god. Just like Tiamat in the Mesopotamia, in Africa we called her, in Mesopotamia they called her Tiamat based on their language. In Africa we called her Medusa based on our language. And Poseidon wanted to be the god of the waters, and because of that they had to kill her and turn her into a monster, because they wanted to rule. So the slaying, the punishment, the raping are all symbolic to the killings, the trying to kill her that didn't work. Just like how Marduk, the first thing he did is that he slayed Tiamat's head, and it turned into a dragon with many heads. Poseidon raped Medusa, and then she was now turned into a woman with many snakes coming out of her head. But now, in order to fully eliminate them and take over, someone else has to come in and do the finishing and kill her. Tiamat had to be killed by being slayed in half. And that's how Marduk was able to drain her blood and use her blood to gain power. Perseus had to come and slay Medusa's head, and that's how he was using to win the war. So eventually the similarities are there. They both had to die. They both had to die in order for someone to take over. And both Perseus and Marduk had to kill the dragon for power. Right? They talk about this. So in African mythology, Medusa is the godmother, and her godhood was stolen from her by killing her. How do they kill them? It's not a literal killing, it's a symbolic killing, because they kill their stories and change their stories. And once they do that, the humans stop worshiping them. And once the humans stop worshiping them, then they create a fake god to worship. Right? They create fake gods that could be worshipped. And that's where the tales of the father gods, they start to arise. Now that's when we started now having a father god, a god who's a father who creates life. And that doesn't make sense, because life is created in a womb. Then how does a man create life without a woman? So why were they killed? Why do we focus on this killing? What was so significant that they needed to be killed? What made their blood so great that they had to be killed? They both are depicted as dragons and serpents. Both had powers, both had blood or powers that could turn any human into a mortal or immortal. They could give life or they could give death. Right? And it also gave rise to the killings of the dragons, because the dragons hold the power of creation. But then they need to make sure that you think creation comes from a man who created it from the soil. Now, also pay attention. The people who were doing the killings were not the women. It was the men who were doing the killings. And they were doing the killings because they wanted to take and be the creator. They wanted to create and be something that they were not. Right? They did the killings because they wanted to rule, be the gods. They wanted powers, they wanted wealth, they wanted immortalities, and they wanted the powers to create. As a woman, you cannot kill something that you already have. A woman already possessed that. They already possessed that, so they did not need to go hunt dragons. Right? And funny enough is that the most prayer raisins are myrrh, your frankincense. One of the most powerful prayer raisins that I've used is called dragon blood. It is the most powerful raisin. It's even, for me, I've noticed that in terms of purification, it does a better job than frankincense and myrrh combined. When I burn dragon blood, like I get the purification, I'm able to do the rituals that I do. And in many ancient civilization, dragon blood was used better for purification. And it's mainly found, I think they have it in Africa, North Africa, and towards that eastern side. Right. Another character you should note, Lilith was also a primeval dragon, a snake. Lilith was a dragon and a snake, and she was a woman who needed to be conquered by Adam. And Adam couldn't do it. So then they created Eve, who was submissive. Because Lilith was not submissive. Because Medusa was not submissive. Because Tiamat was not submissive. Ishtar, who is called, the Babylons called her the goddess, the god of the Babylon. She's the goddess of the Babylonian. Was also a dragon in many legends. And her priestesses also used to use the menstrual calendar. And that's where one of her sons is Jehovah, who was turned into a god. Right? The Red Sea is also said, as I said, was believed to be the blood that came out of the womb. Right? You need to understand why the killing. It is because the killing of the dragon is the killing of the goddess. The killing, the mythology, every time they slay a dragon, they are slaying the goddess. And the goddesses were killed for their sacred menstrual blood, which had the power to create life. And that should also tell you a lot about your power as a woman, your powers as a woman. All right? And yesterday I told you that in order for them to control creation, they need to make you to stop to bleed as a woman. In order for them to harvest the AI souls for AI, which that's what they want to do, they need you to stop to bleed. A bleeding woman understands her power, and once she gets that right, she then doesn't depend on anyone, because then she can unlock the powers of creation. She cannot be controlled. She can create everything with her blood. And when she can create everything with her blood, then she doesn't belong to anyone. She cannot be caged. She cannot be domesticated or controlled. And if she cannot be controlled, then she takes her power back of creation. Then she can decide when she has kids and when she doesn't have kids. And she can also create a child without sperm. Because she's the power of creation. She can then decide. Because she does not need birth control and she does not need a man to create a child. In all the mothers of creation who were dragons, they are always killed for their blood, and everyone would drink their blood would become immortal. They would have power, wealth, and rulership. Then how powerful is your blood? And not only that, all the mothers of creation gave birth alone without any assistance. There wasn't a male figure who gave birth, helped them to conceive children. Even in the Bible, they tell you the story of Mary, who had a child, who was conceived a child without the help of her husband on earth. And they say a spirit came to her and she had a child, right? Without a husband. And all the all the mother gods of creation, they create life themselves using their own blood. Meaning a woman can actually give life on earth if she has fully access to her power. She can give life on earth without sperm. This takes me back to the question I asked in my video last. Then, what was the male species created for? What is their purpose? What is the male species created for? And based on the question that my grandfather kept on asking me, I didn't realize that the male species is not living the purpose that it was created for. Because even now, their gene, the X gene, is it the X gene that you find in the male that creates another male? The gene is slowly starting to die, to go into extinction. And then I was then wondering, I'll put an article in my story for those who watch this in real time. And I was then wondering, why? Right? You can also go and Google it. There's a research that's showing that the male gene is actually going extinct. Why? Why is it going extinct? You know? And it's because the male species have not been living the purpose that they were created to live in. Instead, they were living in a purpose that is not theirs. Their job is not to create, help the powers of creation. Their jobs is not to make sperms, and the sperms be used to make life. And hence, that's why they don't keep on coming back on earth. Many of them, that's why we have more women than men, because their job was never that. So now, back to the man. What then is your purpose? What then is your purpose? Because if the male species are not living up to their purpose, what's then going to happen is that they go extinct. But they have a purpose. There's a reason why there's a male figure on earth. But their purpose is not to help make babies. Then what is their purpose? That's the question we should be asking. Because the people, someone in the male decided they wanted to be a ruler, take a different role that they were never created for, and then created patriarchy. And after creating patriarchy, now made the men rulers of everything. But now they are not living according to their natural order. And hence, in one of the videos, I said that a man who we say, oh, he's so amazing. A man who we say he's amazing, oh, he's such a good man, is an average woman. There's nothing special about him. But if a man who we assume is amazing is just an average woman, then what then makes them special? What must they be doing in order to be special? In order to live out, because they have a purpose. Because they have a purpose. My grandfather said there is a purpose. There is a reason why men were created. But the men are not living their purpose. And this is to the men. Go find what your purpose is. Your purpose is not to make babies. Hence, that's why many of you can just go and make babies that you are not responsible for. That's why they don't even have a sense of responsibility. It's even harder for them to connect with these babies that they make. It's even harder for them to be emotionally and connect. But a mother connects so deeply. It's even easy for the male species to look at a young baby and feel that they can rape that baby. Because there's a lacking, there's a disconnect. Because they are living out a purpose and doing certain things that they were never meant to be doing. Taking on responsibilities that were never given to them. There is a Father God, there is a divine source Father, and a divine source Mother. But the divine source Father does not play the role that you've been taught in the Bible. It plays a different role. And as a man, instead of you coming, as a man, you're supposed to also be going back to the mother who birthed you, not your living mother. You're supposed to go back to Mother God and asking Mother Earth and asking, why did you create me? To what purpose was I created for? And how do I live out that purpose? And then you will know what you need to do. There is a purpose, but it's not what you've been doing, what you've been taught, and what you've been forced to do. Because it doesn't benefit the species of male. It actually destroys them. Let's leave it there. Something to ponder about and go ask your ancestors about. And they will give you the answers. Those of you who work with ascended masters and archangels and angels, they will give you the answers. They will give you the answers. Okay, next lesson, when I come back, I'll come with, I can't fit it here, it's a little bit long as well, there's more to cover. There's a little bit information, not that long, but I can't fit it on this one. Right, let's leave it here. I will come back with the moon cycles, how to use the moon cycles and your own blood cycles, and I'll give also herbs that you can use, and yeah, how to connect better, when to use what. All right, my loves, I love you guys. I hope you guys are having a good day, and I am so happy. I hope you guys are happy. I have to go, I have consultations I need to go attend to, and my mentees I need to go attend to. They're busy with their assignments now. All right, I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope these lessons are intriguing and they inspire you to think beyond. Go take some of the stuff, the characters that I taught you about, go do your own research, go ask your ancestors to teach you knowledge that you can't find on the internet, and they will teach you. Some of you, this will answer some of the dreams you've been having that have been confusing, because many of you are seeing yourself with these people that I'm talking about and you don't know why. All right, my love, bye.